My name is Taylor Davis, Davis Automotive Group. I know if you've ever looked at any of our other auctions or looked at any of the walk-around videos I've ever done, I always say, I don't know why we're selling this car. So I'm going to open by saying, I don't know why I'm selling this car. Obviously, look at it. You know, to get sort of the elephant in the room out of the way, I'm sure a lot of people in the comments section are going to be asking why I'm selling it. So I've had this car for about 2.5 years now. Originally it was sold on Bring a Trailer. Obviously you'll see in the listing, there's a link to the previous listing. That was back in 2022. I did not buy it from that listing. I bought it from FAF, who originally sold it up in Canada, and the person who bought it traded it back into them. I was the second high bidder. They called me, asked me if I wanted it. How could I say no? And by the way, sorry if I'm sweating. It is hot, but we're not gonna let the heat stop us. It's hot here in Cleveland. And like 100% humidity, but we're gonna be fine. So I'm sorry that you have to look at this. So anyway, bought the car, brought it into the US. It honestly was a pretty painless process. I have a letter from BMW saying that it conforms to US EPA regulations. So now the car is here in the US. The reason I'm selling it is because I just don't use it. Bought the car originally for street and track driving. I did 2 track days in it, one at Mid-Ohio, one at Nelson Ledges, if anybody's familiar with local tracks here. The car performed amazing, no problems at all. But, you know, sort of had sort of a little, I guess, reality moment. And I looked at myself and I said, if anything were to happen to this beautiful car on the track, I will literally never forgive myself. So ended up buying an E36 track car myself personally. This car is owned by the dealership. And this car is going to go on to a better home now, and I just don't use it for the street. Even though it's great on the street, I just don't use it. So that's why I'm selling it. So wanted to take an opportunity, took really great photos, thanks to Will Pullman, Will Photo, I believe on Instagram. Is that your Instagram? See? Will Pullman, yeah. Will Pullman on Instagram. Took some great photos. He's helping me out right now. So want to take the opportunity, walk around the car, show you around it, sort of show you some of my favorite things about it as it sits today. So this is exactly where we did the photos. You can see in this location right now. Starting at the front of the car, basically, if you want to look at the previous listing, Jimmy from FAF did a walk-around video of the car, talked about the ethos of the build, right? So the goal was to have an M3 GTS, okay? Obviously, we cannot have an M3 GTS in the US. In Europe, they're going for 250,000 euros, so God knows how much they'll be when they're US legal. There weren't many of them. So the idea was to build one of those for North America, right? So this car is not a Lime Rock. This is a Canadian 2011 E92 M3 competition package finished in fire orange. You can see in the photos, it's got the individual badge underneath the hood. It is fire orange. I believe the paint code is U94. Really, honestly, an amazing color. I've seen it in person a couple times. It's a non-metallic, but it flips based on shade, sun. Sometimes it looks more like McLaren papaya orange. Sometimes it looks more red. It's a really cool color that I hope comes across in the photos. Starting at the front, right, the goal of the build, right, I bought this car as is. The only thing I've done to it is you can see in the maintenance, I put 2 new front tires on it because I wanted the car to be sold in perfect condition. So 2 new front tires, new brake pads on the front, had the splitter refinished, the bottom piece, it's full carbon, but had it refinished in satin black because it had a couple rock chips from track day. And then I put my E92 carbon plenum on it. So that's the only modification I did, which is a must. If you ever have an E9X M3, you got to do it. So starting at the front, right, we have the carbon fiber GTS style splitter. It's all carbon, finished in satin black. And then basically this bottom piece here is adjustable. So you can see I kind of have it in the mid position. It'll scoot out further, or if you want more ground clearance, scoot it back. We have the BMW Performance black kidney grills. The car does have some paint protection film on it that was pre-installed. I did not have it done here, but it was done. Hood, front bumper, fenders, rockers, mirrors, carbon roof, the rear bumper back, right here as well, right here. The rear bumper back to behind the taillights, and then the trunk area where if you're loading anything in, you don't end up getting it, right? So now we're at the side of the car. Looking here, we have the black sort of side gills here, which are functional in the E92, which is great. Another thing, and I'm a huge nerd, so for me, when I bought this car, it was the little details that got me. For a GTS, the correct brakes are Brembo 6-pot front, 4-pot rear, big brake kit, finished in black with an M logo. What are these? 6-pot Brembos, black with an M logo. And the M logo is not a sticker, it's underneath the clear. They really did not mess around. And then these are the OEM comp wheels, 359M, finished in satin black, just like a GTS would. So again, it was all of the little touches that just won me over on this build when I had the opportunity to buy it. Now, even better, it's in the US. You can see we have a stud conversion, just a little bit easier to work on the car if you're changing wheels and tires. Let's just wrap up the exterior before we get to the interior. 245 front, 265 rear, Michelin Cup 2s, great tire. What I found is that it's a really good level. Probably a lot of people would say, why didn't you go wider in the back? This is what the car came to me with. And honestly, I like it because it's a little bit playful on the track. You know, it's stuck, it's very planted, it's very sticky, but again, if you want to move around a little bit, I like that. I don't like a car that's over-tired. In the back, same, you got that 4-piston rear Brembo caliper, beautiful black with the M logo. We have this carbon GTS style wing. I believe it's RKP is the company. If the light catches it just right, you can see the carbon weave underneath the satin black, which is really, really cool. And I like that we still have this lip. Again, that's how the GTS is supposed to be. Poking out of the rear, you can see we have the M Performance in-canal exhaust system. That's an OEM in-canal exhaust. And then as far as exhaust goes, we obviously have headers that came with the carbon stroker engine, I believe. And then we have a secondary cat delete. That is the way the car came to me. It's easy to find secondary cat replacement if you would like, but that's the way the car came. There's no check engine light. It should pass E-check, no problem. I will leave that up to the California buyers. I don't know how stringent you guys are, but the car doesn't stink or anything, and it runs fine. And all that good stuff. It's a pretty popular mod that people do. Walking around this side, again, more of the same. Hope you can see the color in the sun. Oh my God. The paint's in awesome shape, very little swirling, very little sort of anything to report. Honestly, there's nothing to report on this car. Again, the only thing with those, a couple rock chips on the splitter there, but I had them fixed because, again, family-owned dealership, 30 years, I'm second generation. If I'm selling a car, it better be right. So that's why. And if you want to come around here, basically the way that I approach this car from the inside, and again, I didn't build this car, right? Bought, not built. But I would have built it pretty similar because I think this is how a GTS would have come to the US. So again, they could have shaved the front reflectors, but they didn't, because if this car was a US spec GTS, it would have those, right? So then if we look in the interior, probably in period, unfortunately, there's no way you would have been able to get these seats and the roll cage in the US under the regulations, but we have the Profi XL Recaros. I'm a little bit slimmer, but they're super comfortable. I've had bigger people in them. They have no problem. We have the OEM Competition or GTS door sill. So you see you've got these beautiful checkered flag accents here. We have the carbon fiber aftermarket trim. So that's on the doors, on the sort of dashboard, and then on the rear as well, even though there are no more seats back there, they put them back there as well. And then talking around the interior a little bit more, we've got a flat bottom Alcantara BMW Performance steering wheel with the blue center stripe. I love that we still have the Canadian gauge cluster because it reminds me, hey, if this was a Euro GTS, it would have a kilometer speedometer. And then you have a very interesting, I believe they did it at FAF. It's basically like a center console delete. You can just pop it out. I don't know, I kind of like it, little Alcantara. And then if we look in the back, this car has a rear seat delete, all done in Alcantara, a color matched roll bar finished in fire orange, blue Schroth harnesses. So it looks like a GTS should, right? A GTS had the Profis, had the blue Schroth harness, the harnesses, and then as well as the painted roll cage, right? Everything was just done so well, and I'm so picky. So the fact that this car was built so well and done so right, that's what drew me to it. And then what I was talking about, kind of it being like a US spec GTS, this car honestly rides great. It's on the KW Club Sports. It rides great. It really doesn't beat you up. I have it adjusted to a little bit of a higher ride height because I've been streeting the car. You could lower it and put it in more of a track alignment if you wanted. But on the inside, we've got the Harman Kardon Logic 7 surround sound system, the individual audio, which if you've ever heard it is amazing, with the subs under the seats that are still there. We've got air conditioning, we've got nav, we've got leather, right? We've got all the things that I think if they had built a US GTS, this is kind of how it would be, right? We like our fast cars, but we like a little bit of comfort too. I'm trying to think if there's really anything else. We've got the carbon roof, obviously, that was standard on the competition package. And then, you know, it is beautiful, so I might as well show you guys. One thing that I have done to every E9X car I've ever owned is the Venturi plenum. The Venturi intake plenum right here, number one, look at it, it's beautiful. And the sound it makes is just absolutely unbelievable. The intake snort that you get from this, because I mean, look, if you look here, I mean, it really is so much thinner than the stock airbox. So it allows you to hear those 8 butterfly valves, doing their thing. And then sort of looking under here, again, you can read the full build, but what makes this car special is this engine. The Euro spec GTS was a 4.4. I don't know whether they bored it, stroked it, whatever. I just know it had 4.4 liters, right? And I believe it made like 440 horsepower, 444, something like that. This is a Dynon Carbon 4.6 stroker, so that's Steve Dynon's new company, 4.6 stroker, makes probably in the neighborhood of 500 to the wheels, maybe a little less. I think it depends on what kind of gas you're running. But this fixes the problem with an E92. E92s are slow. I don't care what you say, they're slow. This car now has torque. It pairs awesome with the DCT with the, I believe it's a Dynon GTS DCT tune, which really sharpens the gear changes up. And yeah, I mean, this car is just an absolute animal now. And then you can see we have the KW sort of adjustment points, the camber plates here. And then if you're wondering what this is, this was a factory EDC car. So this is a module that basically the EDC plugs into, so the car doesn't think there's a fault or any problems with the EDC system. So that kind of dummies it out. Obviously, come on, gotta have your individual sticker. Look at that. Fire Orange 2, U94 Titan Silver, which I think that means it's the base coat was silver. Which is kind of interesting. I think that's what that means. And then Sonderlackierung, whatever. You German viewers will know that's special paint in German. So yeah, overall, I'm very, very upset to be selling this car. Driving it here to the photo location, doing the driving videos, all that stuff has just made me wonder why I'm selling it. But at the end of the day, I truly believe that if a car isn't getting used, then there's no point in having it. And, I'm blessed and lucky enough to have a collection of some other great BMWs. And, this one I just haven't been using. So for that reason, my loss is your gain, truly. So if you have any questions, just feel free to comment below. Happy to answer any questions, concerns anybody has. But again, this car is in the US, ready to go. Nothing needs to be done. Clean US title, all that good stuff. One thing I did want to talk about though, which will probably be in the listing, yes, we are a BMW dealer. Yes, I work with BMW Financial Services, all that stuff. But I would ask, just for simplicity of the auction, so there's not any issues for the winning bidder, I would prefer that, if you are going to be using financing, to obtain your own financing, or, obviously cash deals are accepted. I just don't want to get into any situations where someone bids on this car assuming they're going to be able to be approved. I don't even know how this car would book out with BMW Financial Services, so I just think it would cause more issues than anything else. So I hope that that's not a problem for anybody, but I just wanted to be upfront about that. I want to make this transaction as easy, painless. That's what we strive for, so this car will be no different. So again, this is Taylor Davis, BMW Cleveland, Davis Automotive Group here in Cleveland, Ohio, Solon, Ohio. And if anybody has any questions, just comment below. Thank you.